I'm Annie today, and this episode is about how you don't need a guru, you need training. Throughout this series, we're going to talk about bigger ideas like new earth versus old world systems and discernment and what it really means to train to be able to stand in the authority of your soul. And I don't want to give you beliefs to copy. I want to be someone who is here to help you train. What I see happening is a lot of people are kind of leaving one authority system just to end up in another one. So you leave academia in my case, or you leave your religious system, politics, the media, the medical system, the corporate world, whatever it is, whatever old world system you're trying to get free from, and then end up potentially still outsourcing your own inner knowing to some guru or channeler or influencer or whoever. And I'm not saying teachers are bad. I am a teacher. We all need people who have walked the path before to support us in that. But the question is, does that teacher help you return to yourself? Or are they training you into being more dependent on them? Because those are not the same thing. And it's really easy to get hooked back in that because the old world trained us to look outside of ourselves for permission. We kind of talked about this last episode. It trained us to ask the institution, ask the expert, ask the algorithm, ask the news, blah, 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 blah. Ask the priest, whoever it is. Asking, am I allowed? Am I legitimate? Is this real? Am I okay? And spiritual spaces can basically repeat that same problem. So that's why I want to bring this up from the beginning to make sure that we don't get into that kind of situation. Because it is not freedom if you are replacing one false authority with another more spiritually dressed up one. And now I want to talk about the word guru. So there's a common spiritual teaching that gu refers to darkness and ru is removal. So a guru should be remover of darkness or somebody who helps dispel the darkness. And so, whether that's a literal etymology or spiritual teaching or not, the meaning is still useful in this moment because a real teacher for you should not become something you worship, shouldn't become a light outside of yourself, but is there as a support system to help remove whatever is blocking your own light from being able to reach you, from being able to move through you. And so, real teachers are going to help bring you back to yourself. And this is why we need to have discernment so clearly that we can tell a real teacher from a not real one. And now I'm going to tell a little story about my own example of recognizing a real teacher and a bullshit. Okay, just say what it is. So, I was in a class last year where a variety of different teachers came, and one of them, I'm going to name names. Ooh. Okay, it's not about me throwing shade though. This is an example of the skill acquisition. Okay. So in this class, Deepak Chopra came to teach us and he got on and he started talking. And I had not followed his work previously, but he got on and he started talking. And my sensors were like, oh, it's snake oil. Something is not right here. And so I actually muted the call and started just watching other stuff on YouTube because I thought, well, this is my time I've allocated to learn. My sensors are telling me I don't trust this person. So I'm going to rededicate my attention elsewhere. I didn't do anything rude. I didn't type anything nasty in the chat. I just removed my attention from it, reoriented my attention to something else, still using the time I had dedicated for my own development. And turned out, in case you haven't been following, our Deepak was in the e-files. The same thing happened with another teacher named Jeffrey Martin. Came on our call. My sensors went off. I thought, this isn't it. And I did the same thing. Also ended up in the files. And so I am not telling you this to say, oh, wow, look at Annie, amazing, perfect discernment. Right? But rather to illustrate what becomes possible if you really dedicate yourself to the training. You are able to sense these things. You will become able to sense these things immediately. And that makes you internally powerful because now you are able to identify the teachers that are a match for you and the teachers that are not a match, to say it lightly. The point, again, is not Deepak is bad. The point is, can you trust your own discernment, even when someone is wearing the cloak of spiritual authority? That's the point, because there's a lot of this kind of false stuff out there, and it's only going to become more. I'm telling you, the e-files is the tip of the iceberg. So we got to get that discernment going now. And I also want to share a personal narrative about why I understand training. So there are a lot of spiritual teachers on YouTube who I love and appreciate their power of their transmission. But they came in incarnated with full memory, full remembrance, and they never lost it. They had guides from when they were born, and that's beautiful. Their ability to hold the frequency and to channel that and transmit and contact the guides, and in most cases also they have some discernment. But it's different because I know my soul chose to fall in to not a little forgetfulness, but the deep bottom pit of forgetfulness, addiction, I'm not going to get into it too much, but just trust me, the pit. And so I did not remember the whole time. I had to train my way back to my gifts, back to my psychic abilities that were there the whole time. Our inherent birthright, right? But some folks didn't have to do that training to get that back. It was there the whole time. But I know what it feels like to lose access, to forget who you are, to really forget who you are, and to have to go all the way to dig out from under the conditioning and the performance and the exhaustion and the survival, to have to dig your way back to that place of wholeness. It's like rehab, in a sense, the rehabilitation of the soul. And I don't mean that to be pathologizing, because there's nothing wrong with us, but it is a different process than those that did not have to rehab. And so if you're hearing this, that is who I am here for. The people that can sense it, that can feel that kind of tingle of it beginning to come back, but also can see, whoa, the journey here, right? I can help because I've done that. I've lived it. And so this series is training. It is not just information. People out there are consuming huge amounts of spiritual information, disclosure, channeled information, prophecy, hidden history, all of that. And some of it is true. But truth is not only about whether or not information is accurate, it is also about whether or not you have the capacity to hold that information. Said it before, revelation without regulation turns into chaos. So I am going to move forward here in this series in good faith with you, whoever you are, that you are not only consuming these videos, but that you are doing the training practices that are also released with these videos. I'm going to pace the teachings accordingly to walk you through this, because some of what I'm going to talk about later is going to really stretch your worldview. It's going to challenge what you've been taught to believe. It might ask a little more of your nervous system than traditional content. And so I'm going to do my part of the deal, pace the teachings, not content dump all at once, but you have to do your part. Rest, practice discernment, regulate your nervous system, protect your energy field. So the point is not to follow me or believe me, not to accrue followers, not to memorize what I say and parrot it back to me, but to train, to clear it out, and to become more sovereign, discerning, loving, and free. And we are free. We are free. We are free. And so it is.